whatever it is, it happened twice. Sorry, kids. Don't know what that was all about. Let's try this again. And again and again. I think we're live. Sorry about that. Wait and see if anybody comes back here for just a minute. Jeepers. I guess we can tuck in a little bit too while I'm... Maybe something more like that. Hello, your old pal Stevie Coyle here. 4 people are online apparently. Hey, Bob Faden, nice to see you. Thanks. This is the 3rd attempt. I don't know what's going on in the ether today. The stratosphere is not complying with my requests for Wi-Fi connection. And if you're online, please do say hello. If you got any comments or questions, fire them at me as well. If I don't know the answer, I'll make up something really convincing. No, I won't. I'll research it for you. But welcome to the 3rd attempt at a webcast, the Friday noontime-ish webcast from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Thanks for tuning in. This webcast is not happening very close to noon anymore, of course, because the governor gives a report at noon every day, and folks tend to hunker around the radios to listen to what the hell is going on in the state now. And I'd like to wait until the headlines go and we get down to the, whatever else gets discussed. Previous assignations, perhaps, which is a remarkable story as well. This is all about guitars. Hey, John Kresich, nice to see you. David Evans Salk, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Nice to see you. Matthew Magner, how are you, Matthew? Terrific. Great. Good to see you, fillers. All right. Today, I wanted to feature just a couple of guitars, which is kind of the new thing around here, is instead of showing a ton of guitars, just 2. And today in particular, I wanted to show you a Collings guitar. And I think if you've heard the story before, like 5 minutes ago, in the middle of which the signal ran out, forgive me. I'm a big Collings fan. I played a Collings for many years on stage with a band I was with called Menudo. And while we were going through Austin one year, which is where Collings is based, just outside of Austin, as we were going through Collings one year, the fellow who kind of runs the joint, not Bill Collings, the fellow who was the face and the heart and soul of Collings, Steve McCrary, invited the band over to take a tour of the factory, and it was fascinating. It was just wonderful to see how they do stuff there. And then he said, "Well, I've got an alternative motive here. I'd like you fellas to come upstairs with me and play some instruments." So we did. We went up to this little room and kind of clustered all around in there, and he handed mandolins to the mandolin player and guitars to the guitarist players, and the drummer and the bass player, I think, just kind of, read comic books or something. And we played, the guitarist and I played a bunch of guitars, and we thought, this is great, these are wonderful guitars, lovely. We didn't fall in love that day, neither of us, but we thought, these are wonderful guitars. What's up? And he said, well, we'd love for you fellas to be playing Collings on stage. The band was called the Waybacks. We'd love for you fellas to be playing Collings on stage, and if you love any of these guitars, we could make you a hell of a deal on these, because these are seconds. These aren't perfect. We can't send these out. And I was playing an OM28 at the time. I said, what's wrong with this one? Well, here's a Collings right here. This is not the one. But I was playing one this same size, but fancy, with lovely purfling and herringbone purfling and all the rest. I said, what's wrong with this one? He said, well, look right here. Yeah, see that little arm of the herringbone is off axis. We can't send this out to our retailers. Really? He said, yeah, Bill Collings would never stand for that. So if you love any of these guitars, and the other guy and I said, no, we kind of like what we got better than anything we played today. But he got from both of us information about what we would love. He said, I'll keep my ear to the ground if something comes through. I said, I'd like a mahogany with a nice stiff top, 12 fret, triple O, fingerstyler. I like that 12 fret sound. Triple O, wide fingerboard, 1 3/4 at least. If you got wider, if that happens, that'd be great too. Slotted headstock, I like that too, because it seems to activate the top better with that steeper break angle across the nut. He said, okay, yeah, I'll keep my ear to the ground. 2 weeks me up, and we're off the road and I'm at home. He says, I feel terrible because we had your guitar here. What do you mean? He said, well, it was hanging over the desk where the fellow who selects all the wood selects all the wood. And it was just hanging there. We forgot about it because somebody inadvertently punched a hole in the back of it with a tool. And so we put a new back on there and we refinished it. And I think it's got the sound you were talking about. It certainly has the configuration you were talking about. Can I send you this guitar? And I had never heard those words in that order before. So I said, yeah, blub, 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 yeah. And sure enough, it arrived a couple of days later, and he was right. Fantastic guitar, which I loved for many years and only gave up. Auctioned it off on eBay because I needed the moolah to get my guitar, my once in a lifetime, my holy grail guitar, the Alan Perlman that I play. And that's the only reason I let it go. It was a wonderful guitar. Collings. This is a Collings. An OM, short scale though, so it's a nice easy touch. Short scale and a cedar top with mahogany back and sides. It's an OM1. Wonderful guitar. And I think it's just a damn shame that this thing is lying around the shop, especially for under $3,000, which doesn't happen much in this shop. This is from 1999. It's had a neck reset, and it's the OM1. Like I say, mahogany back and sides, mahogany neck, ebony fingerboard, rosewood bridge, cedar top. So it's got that kind of nice combination of a hard back and side wood and a cedar top. Now just playing this, I would think probably rosewood. It's got some of that richness of overtone, and you just never know. There's mahogany and there's rosewood, and it just depends on the particular guitar, what it sounds like. Can you hear that? Play that one. Lovely guitar. Big forward sort of sound. It's got that quick delivery that mahogany tends to have, but that doesn't have the super sparkly, sharp, kind of sometimes harsh sound that spruce can have on the top. Cedar ameliorates that a bit. But let me see, catch up with your comments and questions and hellos. Hey, Jim Haberkamp, Matthew Magner, you came back. Thank you very much. Very good. Mike Stevens, Tony Vale, very good. All right, then. Well, then, like I say, this is a Collings. And these guys started off kind of with the same ethos that a lot of companies start off with. Let's out Martin Martin. And in a lot of ways, for a long time there, I think they kind of did. A small shop, lots of individual hand-built guitars, individual attention to lots of guitars, and mandolins, and now electric guitars, and just a wider range than they used to offer for many years ago when that offer came to me. Was that 20 years ago? Whew. A man my age shouldn't be able to say 20 years ago and remember it. But there you are. There I am. Here we are. A wonderful guitar. Man, somebody come buy the damn thing. $27.50 for a Collings that sounds this good. jar from a coffee house or a bar? Or would you rather get a job? Thank you, Pat. New strings and just tuned it up. Somebody come by it, please. The other guitar I wanted to show you today is by a gentleman named Nick Kukich, who, for perhaps obvious reasons, did not call his company Kukich Guitars. He called it Franklin Guitars. I think he either lived on Franklin Street or came from a town called Franklin. Wonderful guitars. And one of the early OM, and also a Martin guy, also a guy trying to out Martin, and one of the early people to realize the incredible value of the OM and triple O size guitars, the OMs in particular. Typically an OM and a triple O are the same body size. An OM typically has long scale. This one does not. This one happens to be a short scale, 24.9 instead of 25.4. This is an OM long scale, really wide fingerboard, 1 13/16, which I like. I love having a little extra real estate over there to do my finger stylings. Yeah, needs a little tunage. This is some of the most fantastic Brazilian rosewood I have ever seen. Let me make sure I give you a good picture of this. Pardon me ducking away here, but I want to make sure that I get you a good angle here. Come on, Coyle. Show him the guitar. It's a little tough to see still, isn't it? It's perfectly quarter sawn, perfectly straight grain. Just some of the most fabulous Brazilian rosewood I have ever seen. And this unusual but entirely functional and sensible cutaway. This is the OM, long scale and wide fingerboard. The distinction, you perhaps know, between an OM and a triple O, even though the body sizes are the same, the typical OM is long scale and a wide fingerboard, 1 3/4, and the typical triple O is short scale and narrow fingerboard, 1 11/16, although there are lots of variations of both, of course. Everybody, sing along. I importune you. And speaking of importuning, this guitar is. God. I feel bad about myself. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think this one has probably not been played in 5.5 months since we all became lepers. Went indoors and are scuttling around in the shadows. Wow. This guitar was built in the, I've forgotten when it was built, in the 90s. It was built in 1983 and kind of had the neck redone in, what am I seeing here? In 2007. And the neck profile is kind of an open C, which is kind of unusual. You know, most neck profiles, if you're looking at the neck coming at you, are either kind of mostly a C shape, kind of a closed C. This one is kind of an open C, so it's an unusual feeling in the hand. I like it. Especially combined with the fact that the fingerboard is wide. This is a completely remarkable guitar. If you need something that's truly astonishing, this Nick Kukich Franklin guitar might be for you. Really complex, really sophisticated overtone stack. This is coming through. You know, the signal here may not be worthy of this guitar. It's really doing some remarkable stuff. The way the overtones stack up, it's sustain is astonishing. You can hear the overtones cancel and pick and reinforce and cancel and reinforce, and it kind of swirls around and keeps itself going. So for alternate tuning types, Glenn Barker, are you there? For alternate tuning types, here are the dates. I read them wrong. Originally built in 1988, Nick Kukich was one of the early guys to realize that the OM was kind of the do-it-all great guitar. So he started building OMs way back then, even while Martin was in the middle in 1988 of making lots and lots of dreadnoughts and lots of big guitars and kind of branching out into stranger zones. He said, no, he and then Eric Schoenberg around the same time said, no, best guitar Martin ever made was the OM. You bet. So they started, Eric and Dana Bourgeois started building guitars, and so did Nick Kukich out there in the Midwest in one of those M states, Michigan or Minnesota or one of them M's. And boy, oh boy, the guitar originally built in 1988 and then redone in 2016. My mistake. I read that tag wrong. I should play songs that I know. me catch up with your comments and questions. Shucks, sorry about that. I kind of get into it, you know. All right. Oh, smaller than 1 3/4? Yeah. Do you know, it's not always, I have to say, it's not always just the width of the neck that accounts for comfort in the hand. It can be the neck profile as well. 1 3/4 is kind of fingerstyle-y stuff. 1 11/16, you'd probably want a triple O instead of an OM, because the typical OM is going to have 1 3/4 across the thing there. Mike Stevens, that's for you. John Tracy, Kevin Kurt, hey, there you go. Lichtensteiner, nice to see you, very good. Larry Pattis, hello there, wonderful guitarist, good heavens. John Wittenberg, very good. Ugh, the video keeps going out. Oh, I don't think that's me. Somebody might be stepping on the cord between here and there. Bastards. Daria, nice to see you. Hi, Daria Kriegs. Hello, Didi. It's just over in Walnut Creek. I don't know who's stomping on the cord between here and there. That's the next town over. Well, are there any comments or questions on either of these guitars? This is the Franklin. It is a lot of dollars, and it's worth every dollar. This one is $8,999.99. But the owner would take an offer against that. I'm quite sure, I know the fellow that owns this guitar, and I'm quite sure he would take a reasonable offer against that, but it is truly astonishing. If for no other reason, and there are other reasons, then this Brazilian rosewood is perhaps the finest I've ever seen on a guitar. Perfectly straight grain, perfectly quarter sawn, sounds just like Brazilian ought to. And this is not the stump wood that you hear about. This was up on the tree. This is old Brazilian. Very unusual cutaway as well for those folks that go up and play the meedly notes way up high there. I don't find myself up there too much, but... How does that go? Comes back, except 1 tablespoon. That's this is the Franklin. That's the Collings. Let me check and see if there are any comments or questions. If not, I'll bug out and not overstay my welcome as I usually do. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mighty Fine Guitars. Take a look at the website. If there's anything you'd like me to play next time around, shoot me a little note off the website. For whatever reason at the moment, Stevie at mightyfineguitars.com is working every other time. A lot of folks are getting bounces off of that. You can always reach me at steviecoyle@gmail.com instead of Stevie at mightyfineguitars.com. Try them both. If there's any interest in any of these guitars are getting shipped out. I've got all these shipping boxes that are full of guitars that are going out. Guitar sales are still happening, even though the shop is, for all intents and purposes, closed. For appointments, though, make an appointment with me. I'll seat you comfortably outside on the beautiful picnic tables we have right outside here and bring out guitars that you want to play. And bring them back in and stick them in a corner to let any microbes die off, fall off, that they may have acquired in either of us handling them. And if you love a guitar, buy it. If you don't, no harm, no foul. But that's how guitars are getting sold in the shop here. Online, though, people are just up and buying them off the website or contacting me and saying, you know, what can you tell me about this guitar or that guitar? I'm interested in this or that. We do a little Skype session, a little FaceTime, a little Zoom, whatever. Skype is best for sound, though, I've found. And sometimes people buy guitars that way. I'm also giving guitar lessons. Yes, I do teach beginners. I love working with beginners in particular because you folks make bigger jumps than more advanced folks. Totally fun to work with them, too. But I don't mind working with beginners at all. Fingerstyle, I can teach, you know, a whole bunch of stuff, and to a reasonable level, you know, advanced, intermediate, most other types of guitar I can teach as well. So hit me up. I give lessons. Hours are 85, half hours are 45, but the thing that increases the value is at the end of each lesson, we take 5 minutes out, or extend 5 minutes. I'm not doctrinaire about time, unless I'm backed up against another lesson, which sometimes happens too, of course. At the end of the lesson, you get a little video, a tightly condensed little video of whatever it is we went over in your lesson. And you get to keep that and work with it forever. And so not only are you taking lessons, you're building up a video library of stuff that you can keep on hand and keep referring to. All the stuff we go over in your particular lessons. So 85 for hours, 45 for half hours, hit me up. It's the way things are done nowadays, and I'm giving lots and lots of lessons. My chops are up. My teaching chops are way up. So hit me up on that front. I do little concerts on Monday nights and Thursday afternoons. Monday nights at 7:30 Pacific time, Thursday afternoons at 1:30. Those are little half-hour shows. Instead of featuring guitars, I kind of play music and stuff. So hit me up online. I look forward to seeing you. Let me check and make sure there's no outstanding questions that need to be addressed. Hey, Fred Holmes. There's my dear pal. Hi there. Oh, thank you, Daria. Thank you. Yeah, Larry, this guitar is really something. You know Nick's guitarist, Larry Pattis. Wonderful guitarist. Check him out. Run on over to his page when you're done here. Check out Larry Pattis. Lovely guitarist. And Daria, all the way from Germany? Really? Or are you in Walnut Creek? Or did I read something wrong? Hey, Michael Kubik. Salinas. Excellent. Go Cowboys. Video's good. Hey, Bunny. There's Bunny. She plays a fearsome guitar as well. Bunny Barnes. Check her out. This is great. You've got a whole list of people here that you could go and check out and listen to their music because there's some lovely playing going on in this here group. I wish we could all jam. One of these days I might do one of these things as a Zoom session where we can all actually chat instead of having to type and do that whole business, where we can have a chat. Or do one of these and then do a Zoom room afterwards. That's what I'll do next time. Next Friday, tune in, because what I'll do is I'll do a little feature of guitars here, and then we'll do a Zoom room. I'll send you a link to my Zoom room, and we'll all converge there and have a little after party. What do you say? All right, good stuff. Very good, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, cats and kitties, down the road.